Everyone is in mute, but let's give Goldy a welcome with a big W, everyone, and I'm gonna take a picture of the screen. Okay, I'm so happy to be here with you tonight, and for me it's an honor to introduce Goldy to you in a way that maybe some of you don't know her that well. I've known Goldy for 32 years. It has been a great friendship. And some of you know her a little, some of you know her more, but it's great to get to know her better. She's coming to be the WIZO Florida president after the great, following Lilian with her great achievements. And Goldy's coming to be the president at challenging times, and things have to be done differently, like this Zoom meeting, to introduce her to all of you. I personally am happy because I'm in California and I can be with all of you right now. So I think some benefit to this. At the end, I'll open for anyone to ask her things that I don't ask her. So please type them throughout the interview. For you who know Goldy, I would describe her as a passionate, hard worker, intelligent woman. And basically, if you want something done, just tell Goldy. And that's how I describe her. So now, Goldy, let's start asking you questions. And why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, where you were born and how you grew up?
Okay, I was born in Mexico City, and my parents were also born in Mexico City, but my grandparents came from Russia and Poland. They were not Holocaust survivors. They moved. My paternal grandparents, they moved from place to place until they settled in Mexico. And my maternal grandparents, they moved first. They moved from Poland to Mexico, and he started as a peddler selling, things from house to house. He saved some money, and he brought my grandmother. And the moment she set foot in Veracruz, that's the name of the port, they had to get married right away, because back then, a señorita could not travel by herself. So my father was born in Mazatlan. It's a town in the north of Mexico. My mother was born in Mexico City. And after they got married, they have 3 kids. So I have 2 brothers. I am the one in the middle. We all attended a Jewish day school from preschool to high school. So I have my very, very good friends from all my life. In Mexico, we are divided in different communities, actually in 4 communities. What we call the Ashkenazi community. I am part of the Ashkenazi community. The Sephardi community, which is comprised by people that came from, mainly in Mexico, from Turkey, Greece, and Spain. And we had what we call the Arab community, which is also divided in 2. The Monte Sinai communities are those Jews that came from Damascus, and the Magen David community, those Jews that came from Aleppo, Syria. Even though I grew up in a Jewish day school, I was always part of the larger community, because in Mexico, Jews live like in a kind of a ghetto. We all used to go to the same Jewish day schools, to the same Jewish JCC, which in Mexico, it's only for the Jewish community. It's not like here in the United States. But I took ballet classes for 12 years, and maybe we were like 3 or 4 Jewish girls there. I took English lessons in a school where I was also the only Jewish girl. I took piano lessons. So for me, it was not really a problem to be part of the larger community. When I finished I was involved also during my childhood in Jewish organizations. I was part of the Girl Scouts, but it was like Girl Scouts only for Jewish members. And then in high school, I was part of another youth organization called Ihura Bonim. When I graduated from high school, I went straight ahead to college. I was very, very young. I was 17 years old. and I went to a private university in Mexico, which it's owned by Jesuits. So I studied history. I was the only Jewish girl in my classroom. And when all my classmates met me, it was the first time in their life that they had seen a Jewish person. So it was like if I came from another planet. They didn't, they didn't have any idea what Jews look like, because after all, we are a minority. Nowadays, there are around 120 million people in Mexico, but only 50,000 Jews. So we are a minority. I got married very young, when I was 20 years old. I got married when I was a junior, and I got pregnant like 4 or 5 months after I got married. My ex-husband always wanted to be a young father. Why? Because his parents came from the war, and his father was 40 years old when he had him. So he felt that there was a huge gap between them. So at the age of 21, I had my first son. And when I was 22, we moved to Los Angeles. No, actually not Los Angeles. We moved to Newport Beach, California. My ex-husband worked in advertising. Then we moved to Austin, Texas. That's where I met Lily and a group of amazing friends. And from my daughter was born in California. And from 90 to 93, I went back to Mexico. During those years, I taught in a Jewish day school, the Magen David School, and I was the high school teacher for all the history subjects. I felt like, like a television or a radio channel, because I went from class to class and I said, okay, now it's history of Mexico, now it's world history, now it's history of the Jewish people. And they were so happy with me that in 1991, they sent me to Jerusalem, to the University of Jerusalem, to take a course. And they thought that I could be a good, a fine leader, and they wanted me to keep on taking courses in Israel. But in 1993, we moved to Miami. Lily?
Yes, and for you, my mom was from Mexico, and I have a lot of friends in Mexico. And let me tell you, everyone knew Goldy as this amazing teacher. I know she doesn't like me to say that, but she had the reputation of being super strict, but extremely good. So now, Goldy, tell us, when you moved to Miami, how do you get involved with WIZO?
Okay. I forgot to tell you that from 90 to 1993, I was part of WIZO in Mexico, and it worked. I was talking to somebody, the way we work there is completely different, because part of the money has to stay in the country and the other part has to go to Israel. So in 1993, I moved here. And of course, first, as a typical Jewish mother, I had to take care of my kids to make sure that they were doing okay. In Miami, since Alex grew up and studied preschool and first and second grade in the United States, for him, English was not a problem. And I have to tell you that for Joelle, I was very lucky, because in Miami, everybody is bilingual. So she didn't have any problems either, with acquiring English. So once I realized that they were fine in the school, I have to tell you, I lived most of my life in Coral Gables and Pinecrest area. I always wanted to live in Aventura, and Lily knows about it, because I wanted my kids to go to a Jewish day school the same way I did. But my ex-husband, he used to work across from the University of Miami, and he said, there's no way I'm gonna be driving all the way from the north to the south, this and that. So my kids didn't go to a Jewish day school. They went to a very, very good private school. It's called Oliver. But I put them in what is called Hebrew classes in the synagogue. Back then it was 3 times a week. I think now it's 2 or once a week. So they used to go Monday, Wednesdays, and Sundays. And after I was sure that they were settled, then I said, you know what, now it's time to think about myself. I joined a very nice group of ladies who belonged to my synagogue, and that's how we created Orly Tamid, which was our WIZO South chapter. Mercedes is smiling, and I can see her. We work very, very hard. But you know, we were not lucky. We couldn't attract the population. Most of them are American and Reform, and we were not lucky. I think we were together like 4 or 5 years, working very hard to attract people, but it was always the same group. After that, or while I was in WIZO, I decided also to study because I wanted to become a teacher the same way I used to be in Mexico. So they told me that I could get certified, but that if I took some more courses, I could get a master's. So I got my master's in social studies education. And then I have always loved to study. It's one of my passions is to study. I don't get tired of learning and learning. Actually, the more I learn, the more I know how little I know, because, you know, knowledge is so vast. After that, my son was gifted. I didn't know that. It's funny because in Mexico, they wanted to kick him out of school because he grabbed everything so fast that he got bored and he started talking with everybody. So here, as soon as we moved, the teacher told me, your son is gifted, he's amazing. So I decided to do a specialization in gifted education. And I don't remember why, but then later I said, you know what, I would like to get a master's also in special education. I always like to work with children with developmental disabilities. And actually I worked 1 year at United Cerebral Palsy with children with, well, I call them children, but they were actually young adults. They were 18 to 21 years old, but with a mentality of a 2 or 3 years old. They were kids with Down syndrome. Some of them had Prader-Willi syndrome, different kind of syndromes. I learned a lot and I really loved to work with them. And the satisfaction I had, it was amazing. I think it's also important for me to tell you that when I decided I wanted to work as a special education teacher, I was offered a job in a school which was 10 minutes away from my house in one of the largest Reform synagogues of South Florida. But I decided to go all the way 1 hour away from my house to teach these kids because I felt that they needed me more. You know, they came from low economic backgrounds, and I thought I could do much more with them. After that, I worked for 1 year, and then I decided, you know, and my ex-husband said that the toll that I was paying, it was very, very stressful. It's very, you know, it gives you a lot of satisfaction, but every day I was so exhausted. You know, I ended up even changing diapers because the people that were supposed to be my helpers, everybody started quitting because they were paying them $5 or $6 an hour. So I had to be like, you know, the teacher, I had to do everything. You know, I have to play many hats on myself. After that, I was already married for 25 years, and 1 year later, when I was supposed to be 26 years married, I got divorced. I never thought I was going to be a divorced woman, to tell you the truth, but you know, things happen in life. It was not easy for me, but it was a quick divorce. In that sense, I was lucky because, you know, my ex-husband got served in July. By December, I was already divorced, but it was so fast that I didn't have time to digest everything. So I lost a lot of weight. I was weighing 100 pounds, and I decided it was time to take care of myself. I exercise a lot, not because I wanted to lose weight, but I think exercising, you know, it's good when you are under so much stress. And I started to go to the shul, to the synagogue. It helped me a lot, going to minyan every morning. I went to therapy. I went to the acupuncturist, and so that's my life for the first 6 years. Lily, I think we lost her. Hold on, Lily. She was having problems.
We did lose Lily a little bit.
Yeah, okay then.
But just, you know what? It's impressive and we're entranced, so just keep going, Goldy.
Okay. So after I got divorced, it was in 2008, the next year, Mercedes called me because she wanted me to get involved in a project she had for WIZO. And as you have heard so many times, you know, when you are in an airplane and they tell you to put an oxygen mask, the first person that has to do that, it's yourself, and then you are supposed to help others. The same thing happened to me. I was, you know, little by little, I was doing better and better, and I felt that it was the right moment for me to get involved with WIZO. So I immediately accepted Mercedes' offer, and I can tell you that WIZO since then has played a very important place in my heart, because it gives me some extra, it gave me like some extra, it created some extra space for me. And back then I was not working, I was not studying. My daughter was in college, my son was already living by himself. So I have all the time for me to do whatever I wanted. And I have always loved to volunteer and to do things for other people. So it came perfectly for me, and for that I will always be thankful to WIZO, because it was like a savior to me. I can tell you, it helped
so
me.
What you're saying is something that is been studied and is so proven that, you know, we are in organizations, we're creating a community, we're helping, we're doing amazing things, but the organization does incredible things for us, and not only for our heart, for our health. We live, you know, it's been studied that people that are in communities and do acts of kindness live longer. So you give, and not that you're doing it for yourself, but you get back, and that's why you're telling us that WIZO is for you, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so why don't you tell us some of your experiences that you have mostly cherished by being in WIZO during these years?
Okay. Well, after I helped Mercedes with this project, I came back to WIZO as a treasurer, and I learned a lot as a treasurer. It's interesting, and because people always say, and it's true, not everything is black and white. Actually, Primo Levi talks about what he calls the gray zone. But in treasury, everything is black and white. 3 plus 3, it's always 6. There's no way that 3 plus 3, it's 7. So as a treasurer, I had a lot of challenges, because, you know, the money we make, it's not for us, it's for our children and families and women in Israel. So it was very challenging, because many people sometimes did not understand that, you know, I asked for certain things. And I have to tell you, I can ask you 1 time, very nice, 2 times, 3 times, that's part of my personality. But if after 4 times you don't understand, I will go straight and I will tell you. And I don't do it in, you know, it's not, I don't do it in purpose, but that's my personality, you know. It's like, okay, I'm asking you, please, for instance, to make a budget. How many times can I ask you to make a budget? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and then you don't make a budget, and then you show me that we are losing money. You know, what's wrong? So I had my many challenges. Also, I went to the EGM for the first time 8 years ago. I love it. I can tell you that that's one of the best experiences of my life. Why? Because as a treasurer, or where you are here in the United States, you know you are working for a cause in Israel, but it's on there, you go and you see with your own eyes what all the achievements that all your hard work, you know, is all the achievements that have been done. It's that you feel amazing. And it was an incredible experience. And also the missions that we have with WIZO, where we have, you know, visited different centers. We have been able to meet different personalities from the Israeli government, from the Israeli military, and the community services that I've been doing. The first big thing that we did as a community service, because as you know, we in WIZO, we take care of all the children, the women, and the elderly in Israel. But I think it's important also to think about the larger community, you know, because we, after all, we live here in the United States. So the first thing I did, it was actually 2 years ago during a hurricane, that many parts of Florida were destroyed, and I saw that most of the people were sending all their, were giving all their help to the Keys. So I read about this place called Immokalee, and actually I had been in that place. It was a coincidence. I was in that place like 6 years before the hurricane, because there are a lot of tomato growers in that place, and most of them are Mexican. So I read in the newspaper about them, and I said, you know what, I have to do something for them. They are part of my community, and they are Mexican. I am a Mexican-American person. So I asked permission in my building, and I raised so many things, so much food, so many clothes. And when I called the person in, it's a, I don't know, life is weird. I don't know why, but I had kept from 6 years before the card of the guy that gave us the tour of the tomatoes. So when I called him, he gave me another phone number. I called that person and I said, you know what, my name is Goldy Retchkiman. I am a volunteer at WIZO, and I would like to do something for the community. I remember it was before Rosh Hashanah, so I told him, our Jewish holiday is now coming, but after Rosh Hashanah, I promise I will go there and I will bring you a lot of things, because I know that your community needs it. And he told me, oh my God, this is like if I won the lottery. He made me cry. I had tears in my eyes, because he told me, I never imagined, somebody calling me to give us so much support. So that was my first experience, giving to the community, besides, giving to Israel. The second one is when I had the opportunity to go to Puerto Rico, to travel to Puerto Rico, three days after Maria hit. And I am so happy that I could do it. And I also, I contacted the Chabad rabbi, and I remember that he told me, you know what, could you please bring me containers, for fuel containers, because we don't have anything here. And I said, well, I'm leaving tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's 11 p.m. when I could get in contact with him. Let me see what I can do. So I saw that Home Depot, I didn't even know, opens at 6 a.m. in the morning. So I went to Home Depot at 6 a.m. and I bought all the the container for fuel that they had. They have like 3 or 4, because we had gone through the same thing. So it's not that we couldn't find so many things. So in Puerto Rico, we went to a small town called Canovanas, and we went from house to house delivering food. It was,
what an
the
experience.
satisfaction that gives you, it's very difficult to describe.
What an experience. And as I said at the beginning, if you want something done, just tell Goldy, right? So Goldy, I'm going to ask 3 questions. I want quick answers. What has been most meaningful for you?
Okay, most meaningful for me is that I am very Zionist. You know it. My love for Israel is huge. So even though I don't live in Israel, I can tell you that I could move a little bit from theory to practice. Why? Because everything we do here for WIZO, it's for our citizens, Israeli citizens. So the most meaningful things for me have been helping Israel through Tikkun Olam. As Lily said, the reward of giving is huge. And I believe that when you give, you don't only enrich and perpetuate yourself, but you perpetuate and enrich the lives of others.
That is so important, and I will keep repeating that. Second question, quick answer. What has been most fun for you to be, together with all these wonderful women?
Okay, most fun is every time we have a celebration and we have music and we dance. I have so much fun. It's like I become another person. Some people think, is that really you? I start jumping like a monkey. For instance, for Israel's 70th anniversary last year, it was this year. I thought it was last year. This year for our gala in January, when we celebrated also 100 years of at the EGM. So every time, you know, we can celebrate together, that's amazing, yes.
And that's what is so wonderful, that we saw doing such amazing things, but at the same time creating such a community, a family, friendships, maybe people that would never meet, they get to meet through this wonderful organization. And that's something that I want to point out, and I had talked to Goldy about, that there's so many ways to help and so many ways to get involved. I moved away from Miami 7 years ago, and I try to do my work trips that match one of your activities that you're having, or I can help in a way while I'm in Miami. So, you know, now that
You froze. Hello? She froze.
Okay, so just looking at some of the, oh, there she is.
sorry?
Oh, you froze.
You froze for a minute. Okay, keep going.
Okay. Last question in the short answer. What is most important for you at this moment?
As you know, we are going through very, very challenging times. You know, 1 week ago, it was only the corona, but now we have all these riots, and it's like, it's not only a virus. So we have now 2 different kind of virus. The virus with the corona, and the virus that, you know, with all these riots and people from the right, people from the left, people that really care about what happened, and also opportunists and looters and everything. So we are living through very, very challenging times. And I think now it's a time, you know, for us to be brave, to take our chances. And I do not have all the answers, but I think that collaboration is very important. I would like to have open and interpersonal communications with all of you. And, you know, if you have any idea, please, you know, feel free to share it with me, because, you know, we have to come with new venues. It's, you know, it's not an easy time. And I hope I can have all your support, and that you will be engaged with me the same way as I'm planning to support you and try to be engaged with you. And other than that, well, I have to form my new board, so I need to work on that too. And you know that my doors will always be open for you. I don't know which doors, because you know. So please feel free to tell me whatever you need, what, you know, your needs, your ideas, and share everything you have. And, you know, I am really open, and I will try to do the best leader I can. But of course, you know that leaders by themselves cannot do anything. So I need all of you, and I know, and I'm sure I will count on your support.
That's amazing. And I know that you have an amazing group of women as volunteers, and also in the office led by Suzanne. I'm going to read some of the comments while I'm going to invite anyone to type questions, and I'll ask Goldy if anyone has questions, but I'll read some of the comments. We're looking forward to working with you and doing amazing things together. Great to have a woman of your valor leading us. Mazel tov, Goldy, you're an inspiration. We love you. Mazel tov, Goldy, you're a hardworking person. Look forward to working with you. And the first question, oh no, it's another comment. What an amazing woman leading us. So I guess it's a lot of us have the same feeling about you. Does anyone have a question that Goldy didn't mention? Any ideas? I have the first idea here, because, you know, I love WIZO Florida. So maybe I'll start the WIZO Florida Zoom chapter for all of us that are not in Florida. How about that?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I just thought of it.
I want to tell something else. You know, 5 years ago, I met an amazing person. I'm gonna cry. We've been engaged for 4 years. You know, he's been incredible to me. As you know, I had hand surgery 3 years ago, I mean, 3 years ago, 3 months ago. I'm horrible now with times. And I've been staying with Jacobo ever since because first of all, I couldn't do anything with my right hand. Now I'm doing a little bit better. But, you know, he's been here with me all the time. He cooks every day for me. He helps me. You know, he has to cut my chicken and everything because I don't even have the strength. He's been an amazing, you know, partner. And I think it's important to mention him because now he's part of my life. And, you know, everybody, when I went through this horrible divorce, everybody always told me, you know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And there was a moment I said, okay, where is this light? You know, it's like, oh my God, because, and yes, there is a light. And thank God I found it with Jacobo. And I am now so happy that, you know, I have all of you. I really appreciate you. I have WIZO in my heart. And, you know, life is good. Life is good. So after all, you know, we are going through so many things, but thank God we are healthy. And I think that's the most important thing.
Exactly. And so there's no questions, just a lot of mazel tovs that you will be able to read afterwards. Everyone knows you now. Everybody knows what an amazing president we get. And I'm going to ask everyone to go on gallery. And if Suzanne can unmute us again, can you unmute us and let's.
Everybody's unmuted.
And everybody go on gallery.
Gallery.
And let's do the WIZO sign and everybody screams. Anything that you want to scream at the same time for Goldy, please.
Mazel tov, Goldy.
Mazel tov.
Proud.
Mazel
Love you, Goldy.
Mazel tov.
Te quiero mucho.
Mazel tov. Mazel tov, Goldy.
Mazel tov. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
In my life, I never met anyone like you, and probably will never meet anyone like you again. You took care of me on our trip to Poland and Israel, and I will never forget your loving attention and your care. We love you and Jacob, and hope to see you soon.
And I can second
Oh,
that.
beautiful.
For those of you who do not know them, Laszlo is a Holocaust survivor, and Gail, she's his wife. And I met them, I think, 3 years ago during the March of the Living, and we've been in touch ever since.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So everyone, thank you so much for coming. I am thrilled to be with all of you from California. And I'm very happy that you get to know Goldy better, because in organizations, you know, the story of a person connects us. So it's good to know our stories, and maybe later we'll know more stories about everyone, and that will deepen our connections and make the work for WIZO better and bigger. And let's keep helping.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you for moderating.
Welcome, Goldy.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night.
Goldita.
Mazel tov, Goldy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Goldy.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.